Ecamm fam, what's good, y'all? What is good? It's great to be back. Wow, season 3, y'all. Season 3 already. Marshall Creates with Ecamm. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Look, and it's been 4 years since I've been in the Ecamm fam. Time flies, y'all. Time flies. So it's great to see everybody. Let me just check in with the family, see how everybody's doing. Wow, I can't believe we're back, y'all. Can you believe it's what month is it? It's April. Can you believe it's April? This is nuts, y'all. This is nuts. So yeah, let me check in with y'all. It's great to see everybody. Great. Oscar, what's good? Sammy, wow, man. It's good to see you. I hope you've been well in this new year. Mr. Moderator, Paul Duncan, I appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. So the title of this live, so this is Marshall Creates with Ecamm, and today we're going to be planning your podcast. So I really wanted to spend the first part of the episode kind of explaining how this season is going to go. So it's going to be a little bit different than the previous season where we focused heavily on, I guess, creating logos and show graphics and things like that. We're going to be doing that. Don't get me wrong. We're going to be doing that this season, but we have it's a bit more structured, if you will. So George, what's good, my brother? Monty, what is good? It's great to see you. Luis, what up? What up? Unboxing with Silverhead. Hello. Welcome to the stream. Step Brothers podcast. Yes, it feels so good to be back. Yeah, thanks, Paul. So this, as you guys can see in the comments, if you have a question, drop that Q with the colon. I appreciate that so I can be able to easily find your questions, okay? So I don't know if you guys saw the like the preview or the trailer video that we put out, but I kind of gave an overview of how this season is going to go, okay? So what we're going to be doing is each month, and it may not be perfect because we may have to skip a week if we have something else going on the channel, like a workshop or whatnot. But over the course of 3 or so weeks, we're going to be focused on a different type of creator, different type of user. Okay. So we have, of course, we want to focus on podcasters. We want to focus on professionals as well as creators. Okay. So we're going to be planning, branding, and landing shows for those specific audiences. So in this stream, as you've seen, we're going to be focusing on podcasters. So we're going to be planning out a podcast this week, and then we're going to brand that podcast next week, and then we're going to land that podcast the following week. So if you're wondering, like, so what is landing? What do you mean by landing? So I had to find something that rhymed, of course. So that's the first thing, and we're gonna pretty much land everything that we do in the first and second episode. We're gonna land it in Ecamm land. So Ecamm is the landing spot, if you will, for everything that we kind of prepare. All right, so we're gonna be doing the usual stuff, creating some cool graphics, but we want to do it in a systematic way. All right, Game Time 216. What is good? It's great to see you. And yeah, just as a reminder, as Paul said, this isn't tech support. If you do have those types of questions, definitely drop those in the Facebook group, Discord, or open a support ticket on the website, and you'll get handled. So yeah, but it's great to see everybody. Benji, what's good? What's good? So I know it's been a minute. Y'all haven't talked to y'all since last year. We're in April already. I can't believe it. So just to update on my end, nothing major has been going on. Just serving the heck out of my clients. I'm having a ton of fun doing that. Ecamm included, because I do designs for Ecamm. So shameless plug for Leap into Tools and Tactics. Shameless plug for Creator Camp. That is coming up at least Creator Camp coming up this fall. I'm looking forward to that. But when you see those graphics and stuff like that come out, know that your boy's been hard at work behind the scenes. So yeah, just serving my clients, enjoying, a peaceful, quiet life down here in Florida, spending a lot of time with my family, and yeah, creating some videos for my own channel, using Ecamm, of course. Have some videos coming out with Wix. Shout out to Wix, coming out on my channel over there. And of course, we'll be continuing to work with Ecamm and do videos for Ecamm as well. If you do hear some like leaf blowers and stuff in the background, I apologize. It seems like they wait until I hop on Marshall Creates on the channel they wait until I do that to come on and want to do all this landscaping and stuff. So I do apologize if you hear that in the background. All right, y'all. So we're going to get into it without further ado. Let me take a sip of my drink real quick. Oh, that's delicious. Have you guys had the what is it? I don't even know what it's called. The ice lavender cream oat milk matcha, something like that from Starbucks. It's amazing. Audio sounds good. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So this week we're going to be focusing on planning your podcast. So if you guys have one that you have in mind, let me know. If not, we'll create one. We will create one. But the point is, I want to show you exactly like how to go from like no podcast to like a fully planned out, fleshed out podcast that's very clear on what it is, who you serve, what it's about, what value you intend to bring to your audience and things like that. And then what it should look like as well, of course, right? So yeah, the matcha. Yeah, yes, sir. All right, y'all. So I'm going to get into my checklist and we're just going to go through this. So if you guys are watching, let's see, we got about 24 viewers on here. If you have a podcast that you're planning or you're thinking about starting, let me know. Maybe we can go through the process with your specific podcast. That would be awesome. If not, like I said, we just ain't gonna sit here and do nothing. We gonna make one up. Y'all know how we do. So Marshall's Matcha podcast. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, let me know if you have anything that you want that that you would like I guess planned out, branded, and landed. But if not, we're gonna make one up on the fly. Okay, I don't have a podcast right now. It's all good. It is all good. If you do, Andy, what's good, my brother? Lou, what is good? Great to see you. So, Andy, what you got for us? You got something for us? It would be cool. Just know that if we decide to go down this road, we take the red pill. Is red pill? I don't remember. That it's gonna take about 3 weeks to get everything fully flushed out. So just keep that in mind. Vertical farming. Okay, vertical farming. Planning up front. Okay, let's see, starting. Analyze blood work in a functional range to find peeps issues even when their blood work appears normal. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, just the overview of the podcast, Andy. We're gonna pick one here, between Adrian, Andy, and Diane. Yeah, just kind of like what Diane did. I don't know if you could see that, but she added an overview of her podcast. Real estate coach. Okay, like overview of it. Rich says sales training. Oh, that's cool. Let me write these notes down, guys, just so we can pick one. So this specifically, guys, just so you know, this is for this month is for podcasters. So if it's gonna be a podcast, that's what we want to brand. Okay. So yeah, so then we're gonna jump into like creators, like if you just have a general show, and then we'll do professionals. So like real estate coach, that would kind of fall more into the professionals. But you could have a professional podcast. I get that, but if you have like a podcast that's pretty much ready to go, okay. Okay, WSP Coaches Corner, mentoring, sharing screen. Okay, yeah, so that is more of like training. So yeah, we won't do that one this time. So let's say we got Camera Junkie has a camera podcast. Let's take a look here. Just gathering my notes. And you know what? I'm going to share my screen with you guys just so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm using give me a sec here. I had a Google Doc up and now it's gone. That's crazy. Hold on. All right. So I'm going to share my screen. Boom. All right. So we got Camera Junkie. So that's Louise. So I'm just using freeform just to jot some notes down. So let's do numbered. What other options we got? We got Rich Moore. Let me see. Sales training. So this is going to be more of a podcast. So that's Rich Moore. You got the perfect name for sales, right? You probably get that all the time, Rich. Okay, then we got Andy. So that's going to be real estate coach. Yeah, you guys definitely need to hang around for the professionals month when we do that. All right, what else we got? I know we had Adrian, vertical farming. That's interesting. Lou, we got to skip you this this season, Lou, because we got you right last season. So we're gonna have to open it up for other people this season. All right, let's see here. We got to pick one quick. Dan, what's good, my brother? Thank you, man. Is it just sound or can it be both? So no, so we do for this specifically, we do want it to be a video component as well, because in order for me to show you exactly how to plan it out and brand it and create overlays and things like that, and they're going to be using Ecamm, right? So, and that's what we're here for, is to use Ecamm. So podcast that teaches. Okay. All right. Basically, zero have equipment but no knowledge. Okay, Adrian. All right. So yours is vertical farming. I feel like we were missing someone else. And Diane, that's who it was. Detective. Okay. So hers is about analyzing blood work. Functional range find people's issues. Even that's interesting too. Okay. Let's just put in blood work. But you said something else first. I thought you did. All right. And this was for. Oh. Hold on. Is this two? Okay, so Diane. Diane Sanders. Okay. So what is vertical farming? That's interesting. Yeah, I got Louise. I appreciate it. Hey, Homesick Matt, great to see you. Great to see you. Okay. Harry's asking about Zoom. Was great to see you. Great to see you. Yeah, this isn't the stream for that. But it's coming. It's coming, y'all. All right, so I think we're looking between, at least for this, and Andy and Rich. You guys definitely hang out because we may get you guys in during the professionals month, but this vertical farming and then the blood work is really intriguing, and I think we could really build out something cool. But what is vertical farming? I probably should know that, but I don't know. What is that? What is vertical farming? I would like to know a bit more about that. Real quick. If you could just let me know. And then I'm just going to choose between those two. Micah, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me look it up real quick. Vertical farming. Let's see what it is. Crops are grown on top of each other. I thought that's what it probably was, rather than traditional horizontal rows. Oh, that's interesting. Oh. Okay. So what? Okay. This is intriguing. This is very intriguing. All right. So she may have had to jump off because we're not getting anything. Okay, Adrian. Let's take a look at my freeform. Oh, Adrian's, she's still here, I think. Start from 0. Okay. Adrian, are you still here? Tar Garden. Boom. You still here. We're going with Adrian. Diane, you made it to the finals, but we're going to go ahead and select Adrian with vertical farming. All right. Let's do it, y'all. Let's do it. Homes and schools. I love that. That is so cool. That's awesome. So my wife, she actually just got this, I don't even know what it's called, but it's like a little pod, right? And it has like 6 different plants, or like it has like a little pot. You put the seed in and then you fill it with water. Then it has a light that comes on at certain times. And the stuff is growing already, y'all. It's crazy. So this is right on time. This is very intriguing. Yeah, I appreciate it, Diane. Maybe we'll get you in at another point, but we're gonna go ahead and go with the vertical farming. So let's go ahead through our questions. So I prepared some questions that we're gonna want to answer. So if you could kind of help me out and we could build this out together, but just stay by your computer, by your keyboard, so we can knock this planning phase out. Okay. So and don't be intimidated by the questions. It's a lot, but all right. So this is where we're at right now. And let me zoom in. These are pretty much the questions that we want answered. Can you guys see this okay? So just a little, just thinking of these, and go ahead and take a look at through these different questions. And what we'll likely do is get you guys a copy of this as well. I just got to make it look pretty. But just a little background. So as far as my main thing, my bread and butter is graphic design, as you guys may be aware. And I work with a lot of podcasters, speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, and they tend to have podcasts. So I've done my fair share of podcast branding and have gone through this process, at least part of this process, the visual component of the process with my clients. Okay. So we want to start answering these questions. I mean, we don't have to answer everyone specifically right now. And Adrian, I can send this to you. And this can help us going forward if you can answer these questions. But the number one thing we have to focus on when building this stuff out is like, who are you speaking to? That's so important. Who are you speaking to? Not just what you're speaking about, but who are you speaking to, right? Because you just don't want to find yourself like speaking to everybody. You want to have a specific niche, right? So it seems like you do. So let's go ahead and start answering these questions, okay? So what is the main goal of your podcast? Educate, entertain, inspire, inform. Let me know. So I guess I'll start filling it out. And what I'll do at the end of this, Adrian, is to send this to you. So, you can have a copy and then you can add to it. And I guess send it back to me before next week. So we can get the branding going, because that's what we'll be doing next week is branding it. So what is the main goal of your podcast? I'll start typing some notes here. I would say educate, right? With specific niche or a subject area where your podcast focus on. So we'll do vertical farming. And feel free to paste your answers in the chat, along with your passions, expertise. So this is something that I don't know, but you would know, right? So here's where you would really write down a little bit about your history and how you arrived at this point. Like, what makes you an expert on this specific topic, because we all have our own uniqueness. Like, we all have our own special sauce, and our USPs. So here's where you would kind of outline what those are for you. And then, it'll kind of help to give you more of a sense of credibility, but also confidence as well. Like, yeah, I do belong in this space, right? This is my lane. Okay. So here's where we talk about the audience, and I can't stress this enough. This is like one of the most important things when it comes to any design and branding is, who are you speaking to? Who is your podcast intended for? Describe the demographic characteristics of your audience. So what are the needs, problems, and interests of your audience, and how can your podcast provide value or solutions to your audience? And Tech Yourself, what's good? I appreciate it. Thanks so much for tuning in. But this is something that I do as well. Hopefully we're not getting too deep, but when I go through like a brand strategy session with my clients, like, we talk about their audience, but we go kind of deep, y'all. Like, the demographics is cool. Like, how old are they? What are their interests? Like, male or female, ethnicity, all of that. That's cool. But we also want to get into their psychographics, meaning like, what are they dealing with on a day-to-day basis? Right? What are their main challenges and pain points in just regular life when they meet you, right? So you kind of have to think about it from that perspective. Like, if somebody's scrolling on, let's say, Apple Podcasts or YouTube, and they come across your video, you want to meet them where they are. So what are they dealing with at that time? And it's not necessarily a negative thing, like, at all. It's like, where are they in their life, where your podcast would be like, this is what I've been looking for. Where have you been all this time? This is exactly what I need right now, right? So where are they in this moment, right? So we kind of go that deep, and we also like name them and stuff like that as well, just because when you start to build out your brand, whether it's like logo design or just full brand development, or in this case, we're building out an entire podcast with the visuals. When we start to do that, you want to think of that person, whether their name is, let's say, Jim from, the Midwest or whatever. You want to speak to Jim. So when you name that, you think about their psychographics and go kind of deep, who you're speaking to, right? Even with me, say, hey, big wave. Hey, Faithcast, it's great to see you. So I think about like my main audience in my design business. It's 7 to 8 figure speakers, authors, coaches, and consultants who have grown their business to a point where, they're the first millionaires in their family. Everything's relatively new to them. They've reached this status within the past 5 or so years. They don't really have a guidebook. They're not like, second, third generation millionaires or what have you. This it's relatively new, and they got it out the mud with sweat, grit, determination, tenacity. And they have a lean team. They don't have a huge team. They're keeping it lean so they can, survive economic downturns and whatnot. Um, their logo or branding is either something they did themselves or they got done relatively inexpensively, either Homey or Fiverr, right? But they got to that point without the dope branding. But now their stuff is kind of out of alignment where they have a successful business, or there's coaching, speaking, book, community, but their visuals and their brand is just not in alignment. And they know, okay, I have to make sure that I'm showing up at least visually at the same level that I'm showing up for my clients. So I'm having tremendous impact, but my stuff looks like crap, right? So it's like they come to me to make sure that they're in alignment. And I know that they've dealt with other designers in the past who have ghosted them, who they feel like they've overpaid for. The designers have overpromised, underdelivered. They're frustrated. I'm kind of like their last hope, right? So I know that much about my client to speak their language, right? To speak their language because I know where you are right now, and I'm an expert in this space. So I'm gonna make sure that you're taken care of. That's kind of how I show up, right? So I'm saying all that to say that's the level of detail you want to have when it comes to thinking about your target audience, whether it's for your business or something like your podcast. So you can meet them where they are and almost answer their questions before they even ask them, right? So we all have a certain level of expertise and a proficiency in our crafts. So it's just a matter of how can we use that to draw people in and keep them there. Right, because we can impact and change their lives, and you could think that your space is oversaturated, or it could be other people doing what you're doing, but nobody has your specific story, your specific angle, your specific expertise. So you could say the same thing as somebody else is saying, but just because it's you, they could connect with you and absorb that information more so than someone else, right? So that's why we have to make it a point to continuously show up for our clients. And Ecamm is a great way we can do that. All right, y'all. My bad. I had to get off my soapbox real quick. But you see how that just spun off from the target audience? Because that is how important it is, y'all. That's how important it is to know your target audience and who you're speaking to, where they are right now, and why you are suited to meet them where they are and solve their problem, whatever that is. Their needs, problems, interests, etc. All right. So yeah, if you have any gems, anything to share with us, Adrian, as it relates to this, let me know. At a minimum, I'm going to send this to you because I don't know what kind of time you have right now. You didn't expect to pop onto my stream and then have homework to do. I get it. Sherwin was good. Great to see you. Thanks so much for tuning in. All right, y'all, let's move on. And Adrian, at a minimum, I keep saying at a minimum, can you let us know the name of the podcast? And if you don't have one, it's okay. If you're open to us creating one, we're going to do that. If you're still on. I don't know if you're still on or not. Okay, and then we'll move on into format, okay? So we want the purpose and niche or niche. I feel like niche works sometimes and then niche works sometimes too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, if you guys could hit that like button, I'd appreciate that. Cool. All right. Don't have a name. All right, cool. We're gonna create one. All right. So podcast format where your podcast features solo episodes, co-hosted discussions, and interviews. Do you know that? So you have to really think about that, or it could be a combination of both. All of the above. Link to the doc. Yeah, I'll add it to I have to I'll share it appropriately and I'll drop it in the description for you guys at the end. Okay. So I won't get caught up doing that right now. Because I know it's a way that we get share it or add it to Google. I'll see what Katie and the team wants to do with it. But yeah, we'll drop this in there. So with structure, what will the structure of your episodes be? And how long will your episodes be? So this is pretty much will be our run of show. Okay. So if you hear the term run of show, it essentially means like what structure will your podcast have? Whether it's you have, let's say you have a an introduction, or let's say a countdown, introduction, where you state the purpose of the show, and then let's say you have like a monologue or something like that, or let's say you have like an interview, um, and then like I say a call to action, and then outro, kind of like that. Let me see all of the above. Okay, so solo episodes, co-hosted discussions, interviews. So do you have an idea of the structure for your episodes? Because this is important, because when we go to build out the scenes and the graphics, we want to make sure that we cover everything, So if you're going to have a countdown, introduction, is it going to be mostly you on camera? Is it going to be 2 people on camera? Is it going to be up to 3 people? Like, how many people on camera will you have? What types of calls to action will you have? Like, are there like freebies and things like that? Where, for example, you'll say, hey, to get my my free 10 steps to vertical farming, to get started with vertical farming ebook or what have you, go to this website. Because if you have something like that, we'll create a graphic for it, or like some type of overlay where it could come up on the screen. So keep that in mind as well. How long would episodes be? Do you know? If you don't, it's okay, but this is something to think about. How frequently do you plan to release new episodes? So is this going to be like once a week, once a month, once every 2 weeks? So just start throwing your info, whatever you have in the comments. We'll get to it. I know it's a little difficult because I literally live stream asking you questions. So from here, we'll go into more planning. So what are the topics for your initial episodes? So think about that. We created a content calendar for scheduling topics, guests, and special episodes with level of scripting that your podcast need. That's right. So let's say 30 minutes. Okay, about 30 minutes. So you say you had your equipment, right? Or was that Diane? Here for homes and schools. Oh, okay. So let's bring that up here. Target audience. Let's just say homes and schools. So I'm guessing we're talking to, are we talking to like children, teachers? Like, who's going to be listening to this podcast? Is it going to be teachers and parents, or is it going to be like the students? So are we instructing the teachers and parents with the podcast and expecting them to go and share what they've learned from your podcast with their students and children? Is that kind of how it is? Churches and schools. Okay. All right. Churches, homes, and schools. Homes and schools. David, what's good, my brother? Great to see you. Adults. Okay. Perfect. Adults. So that's why it's good to know, right? Because it reminds me of my clients. So let's say I may have a professional speaker client, right? Where they may speak primarily to students in schools, but when I'm designing for them, whether it's their personal brand logo, their website, like it could be like a booking site or anything, their press kit, I'm not designing for the students. I'm designing for the adults, the meeting planners, the people that will see their brand and say, "Hey, I want this. This is intriguing. I want to learn more about this person. I want to bring them in to speak." Whether it's somebody in a Fortune 500 company, right? So we're designing for like the booking manager, the person who books these people to bring in to speak, bring these this talent in to speak. That's what I'm speaking to, not necessarily the kids when it comes to the branding. It just depends on what part of the brand the kids see, right? Interview all churches and schools that purchase them already. Oh, okay, I like that. Um, so you saying go as in like go out and interview them, or are you doing this virtually? Okay. Churches, homes, schools that have purchased the vertical. What is it? What is it, like a kit? Like what do you sell specifically? Yes, we're doing that next week. Okay, virtual meet. Okay, great. Virtually. Something I was thinking about too is it would be cool if, and you may have thought about this already, if you had the people that you interview either film their vertical growing kits, or I don't know, what are they called? Vertical gardens, vertical farms, film or take photos of their vertical farms where you could show those during the interview. I think that would be cool. Tower garden. Okay, boom. So I'm gonna run this down to, let me see, visual brand launch promotion plan. Let me see. Where can I put the garden in? Okay, showcase tower garden. And do you think your CTA would be like to go and purchase a tower garden? Purchase your own from blank. All right. Hemisphere. Okay. Topics, script writing. So you definitely want to think about, of course, what questions will you be asking the um interviewees, or the guests? Let's just say the guests, about their tower gardens. Examples like setup. I don't know. I don't know that space, but setup, goals, um, things they've learned, reception, receptivity. I don't know, from the kids, from the students, etc. Stuff like that. I'm thinking. Purchase one or have us donate one. Okay. Purchase, and then or have us donate one. All right, that's cool. Technical setup. So of course you want to list your equipment, make sure all of that works as well with software you'll use for editing your video. If you of course we're going to be using Ecamm, right? Editing video, live streaming if applicable. So of course we'll put Ecamm for live streaming. All right, so now we're getting into planning the branding, which we'll do next week. So we have some time where we could go and try to come up with a plan right now. And then launch a promotion. So what's your strategy for launching your podcast? Of course, I don't know if you have an email list already. LinkedIn page, of course, social media, sharing that. Something that's really helpful, which you may already know, is like having some type of freebie. It's huge, y'all. I've deleted my Instagram and Facebook probably a few months ago, and I still get leads. I still get people sign up for my email list on my website, because you have to have like something that's very valuable to folks that can meet them where they are, right? So mine is it's just like a PDF document, uh, showing designers how they get, have a successful graphic design business. And it still gets leads on a regular basis. People are being added to my email list, right? So if you don't have anything like that, I would recommend getting something like that set up. So if do you have a website? If you do, I'll definitely add that to it, because once you start adding people to your email list, once you roll out your podcast, you say, hey, 2 weeks left till my podcast comes out. 7 days left. This is what we're doing. This is, who the guest is going to be, or what have you. And you can continue to promote that way as well. And you own that. You own that audience, as opposed to social media. If they delete your social media, if you decide to delete your social media, whatever, it's you can't promote, but you still can promote on your email list. Sherman, no doubt, man. Appreciate it. Okay. And then practice. So this, of course, you just want to make sure that you're able to hop on Ecamm, record something, make sure your camera, your lighting, your audio sounds good. Maybe even do a test stream. And you definitely want to do like a tech check with your guests, just to make sure that they're able to get on. You're able to see them or present them like you intend to on the actual stream. If they're in the right spot on the camera, once you switch your scenes up and stuff like that, their audio sounds good. You can adjust their picture settings. You can set it up where if you wanted to have isolated video, isolated audio recordings, and we'll get into that once we land, right? On the landing episode, show you exactly how to do that. But you want to make sure that you do that all in advance, because you don't want to be troubleshooting in the middle of a stream. Okay. So that's pretty much it, y'all. It's just broken out into these 8 main sections. So, have a website. Yeah, absolutely. Start that, especially now that you're launching a podcast. Go ahead and start that, because you'd be surprised. You may find people who may volunteer to be a guest on your podcast just by being on your email list. Okay? Just by being on your email list. So, what I'm going to do is we're going to come up with a name. Okay, we're going to try to come up with a name. All right, so here we are inside of ChatGPT. And I highly recommend using ChatGPT. I don't know why my comments, I have to make sure they fade away. All right, so hello, I always say hello. I'm creating a podcast about vertical farming. So they should already know what that is. I'll be interviewing people who have purchased tower gardens from my company. So let's just say that the audience of the podcast. Let me see. Let's just say the customers have primarily been churches, homes, and schools. Use the tower gardens to teach kids. That's a sustainable agriculture. I don't know the space, so please forgive me if I'm not doing this justice. Of churches, homeschools, and tower gardens, teaching sustainable agriculture. The audience of the podcast will be individuals who are interested in this. and may uh, look to purchase a tower garden for themselves. Oh, awesome. Themselves. Can you help me come up with a list of names for this podcast that is aimed at that audience? Let's see. Oh, this is dope. Okay, I like these. I'm reading through them as, of course, as it's generating. Can you guys see this? Is this large enough for you guys? All right. Let me know if any of these jump out at you. Towering green. This is cool. Vertical roots. Green inspired conversations. Harvesting heights. Echo story. That's fire. That's fire. I like that. Harvesting heights. That's fire. The two H's. Up garden talk. Sproutcast. The vertical farming show. Oh, Sproutcast is fire too, but I feel like they might be used already. It's too good to be true. Growth towers. That's fire. I like that. Elevated harvest. A green journey. Sky farms. Beyond the soil. Leafy layers. Stories of sustainability. I like leafy layers too. I like leafy layers. Vertical village. Oh, that's fire as well. Plant Pillars podcast. Eco Rise. Eco Rise. Voices of vertical farming. Ooh. I like voices of vertical farming even without Eco Rise. Green Towers. Teaching tomorrow. Canopy conversations. Tales from the tower. You can't sing. Oh shoot. Okay. Okay, so we have the towering green. Vertical roots. Sustainable tales. So that's all one. Vertical roots, sustainable tales. Emphasizing the deep connection between vertical farming and sustainability. The next one, we have green inspired conversations. Invoking the image of towering gardens while highlighting the podcast's conversational nature. Number 4, we have harvesting heights. Eco stories, focusing on the results of vertical farming and the environmental impact. Number 5, we have up garden talks. A play on words suggesting growth in the upward structure of your gardens. The next one, we have Sproutcast, the vertical farming show. A catchy name that plays on broadcasts and the idea of sprouting plants. I like that. Number 7, we have growth towers, communities in bloom, highlighting both physical growth in gardens and the growth of community engagement. Number 8, we have elevated harvests, a green journey, emphasizing the elevated nature of the farming method and sustainability journey. Number 9, we have sky farms, beyond the soil, suggesting innovation and the limitlessness of vertical farming. Number 10, we have leafy layers, stories of sustainability, focusing on the layers of the tower gardens and the layered benefits they offer. Number 11, we have the vertical village, growing together, highlighting the community aspect of your audience from churches to schools. Number 12, we have Plant Pillars podcasts. Say that 10 times fast. Plant Pillars podcast. That joint is fun. I like it. A straightforward name that reflects the physical structure of tower gardens in their role in sustainable agriculture. Number 13, we have Eco Rise, voices of vertical farming, emphasizing the eco-friendly aspect and the rise of vertical farming practices. Number 14, we have Green Towers, teaching tomorrow, focusing on the educational impact of tower gardens on future generations. And finally, at number 15, we have Canopy Conversations, Tales from the Tower, a name that evokes the lush green canopies of plants growing in tower gardens. So yeah, let me know if any of those jump out at you. At least by next week. I'm going to send all this stuff over to you as well. If you get if we could connect with you somehow. How do we connect, Paul? I forgot. To email you so I could get your email address so I can send this over to you. So we can you'll have a little bit of homework to do by next week. Unless a name jumps out at you right now that you want to roll with, that'll help us a lot. So just to recap, we got the Towering Green. That's number one. So Vertical Roots Sustainable Tales is number two. Number three is Greenspire Conversations. Number four is Harvesting Heights Eco Stories. Number five is Up Garden Talks. And just a heads up, in my experience, I tend to like the shorter ones without like the colon and then something else. Even though you could definitely have like a tagline, but the shorter the better. You know what I'm saying? Think about all the podcasts you listen to. You don't really think about the whole thing, like the Vertical Village growing together. It would just be like the Vertical Village. You know what I'm saying? And maybe growing together would be a like a tagline. You know, looking at others, Canopy Conversations, the Green Towers, Eco Rise, Plant Pillars podcast. That could work. Vertical Village, Leafy Layers, Sky Farms. But yeah, let me know if any of those jump out at you that you want to select. Yeah, okay, cool. Send an email to Mr. Moderator and we'll get your email and I'll send this over to you along with the questionnaire that we could kind of you could kind of fill out a little bit. But I think we have a good idea of what we want to do, but we just mainly need a name. We need a name. So even after this stream ends, if you could come back and I mean, I'll send it to you as well, but you could come back and look at this list that we have up on the screen, because you may be somewhere where you can't read it right now, and then just pick one. Or if you have something else that you want to rock with, but we need to start next week. We're gonna start just out the gate with the branding, okay? Because we got a lot to do next week, so we definitely want to have a name picked out, like going into next week, okay? So yeah, so I mean, I use AI a lot. And just while we're in here, y'all, I know we aren't at next week's episode yet, but inside of ChatGPT, they have DALL-E as well. So it's like an image generator. And I use this a lot. So of course we use Midjourney as designers, right? We also use a service called Leonardo AI, but I use DALL-E a lot to create pretty much whatever I need. Send an email. Okay, awesome. So for example, let's just pick one, just really quickly, just like as a teaser. Let me go back. Let's pick I might be able to just do it right in here. Let's see, can you use DALL-E to create a logo for Plant Pillars podcast? Let's see if it does it in here. Yep, and it creates the image. So it's using DALL-E to create the image. But if you just want to go right into the image creation, you can go to DALL-E. The only thing is, y'all, and I should know this, but as a designer, I have so many apps, so many different services I use. I know I pay for ChatGPT. I don't know how much it costs per month. And I don't know if you can use DALL-E if you're not on the paid plan. So definitely look that up. But I want you to go in there and be like, dang, this is paid, or it probably is paid. But just assume it's paid, okay? I know I pay for this. Yeah, so look, it already gave us a logo concept. So we'll do a bit more of this next week, depending on the actual name that you pick. But as you can see, it's a quick way to use AI to come up with the name and go ahead and get your branding started if you're not using like a professional, right? But even as a professional designer who's been doing this for about 8 years now, I use AI for ideation a lot. Even when I was creating the Creator Camp logo for this year, I came out with I use AI, primarily DALL-E, to generate probably about 20 to 30 different concepts and send them over to Ecamm and say, hey, which do any of these jump out at you? Let me know. Of course, it's going to take a certain level of expertise and skill to make adjustments and modifications to it, because it's just not a matter of downloading this and that's it. Like, we have to have the layers, it has to be vectorized, we have to change the colors, we may need to change the fonts, we may need to add or remove elements, but it still is um a good way to ideate and just get some ideas if you have no ideas at a minimum. You know what I'm saying? Okay, Chat GPT is $20 a month. Cool. Yeah, let's look it up real quick. Chat GPT costs. Boom, $20 a month. You're right. So let's see what's all included. I'm trying to see if there's anything about DALL-E. I guess it's just included. Yeah, I guess it's just included. Another service I like is called Kittle. I talked about this a little in the last season, but we'll use that as well to come up with some concepts for the podcast. We just need a name. The Kittle is good as well. But I'll show you it real quick just because we got 4 minutes left. So it's like a design program, but it's like a lot of different templates you could kind of start from. Right? So if we go to, let's say, new project, standard, this is fine. Let's just go to the logo generator first. Logo, let's do generate logos. Let's just say create a logo for a vertical farming podcast called Plant Pillars Podcast. Let's just see what it does. I don't really use the logo generator in here, but I do tend to use like certain templates and kind of change the text and colors and things like that sometimes. So let's just see what it does in here. Yeah, so this didn't work so well because it was giving us a chicken. Oh, but let's go back. Okay, go to templates, and logo is cool, but it gives you different categories, right? Minimal. So even something like this could work. It's probably really small. But it has a bunch of different like templates you could start from, right? So for example, and usually podcasts, their logos primarily are text based, and we'll get more into that next week, but they're primarily text based. So something like this, for example, create new, I think it's creating it. It's just taking a minute. Boom. So for example, we wanted to do something like this and changed it to, what is it, plant pillars? Plant pillars. And then change this to podcast. Of course, you could change the colors, change the fonts, change pretty much everything if you want. But I actually like the color scheme. I'll make podcast larger. Of course, 32. Plant Pillars podcast, and then change this to, let's look for different elements, illustrations. Let's do plant. Let's just type in plant. And you can bring in bring in vectors and stuff from other programs as well. Let's just say if we chose something like this and made it the same color, object color, boom, deleted this B, right? You see what I'm saying? So Kittle is good for stuff like this where you can pick something that's kind of already made. Just if you want something that's quick that could likely work. I don't use Kittle for like branding purposes, but I will use it for like t-shirt design, merch design, and stuff like that. Yeah, but if you like, you're trying to do your podcast or what have you, and you're on a budget, you can't. Let's say you can't afford to hire a professional designer, you could probably do something like this. It's like I told you guys early in the episode. Like a lot of my high profile clients, they got it out the mud. They didn't have the 7-figure looking logo to start. So, and I tell people this. A lot of people reach out to me for work, and I turn people down even if they have the funds or whatever, because like you kind of need proof of concept first before you sink some significant funds into your branding. You need to go out there and see if this thing is going to stick, right? If people are actually gonna purchase your product or whatever it is that you do, if they're gonna actually, if there's an actual need. And it sounds a little harsh, but like, is there actual need for your product or service or whatever it is that you do? Like, don't spend a whole bunch of money on your branding before you even figure that piece out yet. You know what I'm saying? So, this would be a good service to use for that type of stuff. Yeah, something like this is nice. But it would be cool. We could look at some vertical farms and then maybe incorporate something like that into the logo next week. All right, y'all. Well, I appreciate everyone for tuning in to our first episode of season 3 of Martial Creates with Ecamm. We're planning, branding, and landing shows for podcasters, professionals, and creators this season. So in this episode, we did a bit of planning, and we're gonna go ahead and get into the branding next week. I'm actually gonna save this because I like the way this looks, at least the color scheme, and I'm gonna put it into freeform just so we can save it. It's like inspiration for next week. Because at a minimum, I keep saying at a minimum, we may be able to use this color scheme next week. Boom. All right, guys. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you guys could hit that like button on your way out, thank you guys for tuning in. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.